At midnight, fireworks explode across the sky. People scream, hug, cry, promise change. But somewhere else, someone is asleep. No countdown, no champagne, no new year, new me, just another night. Why? What kind of mind looks at one of the biggest celebrations on Earth and feels nothing special at all? Tonight, we explore the psychology of people who treat New Year like a normal day. Every culture marks time, birthdays, anniversaries, holidays. New Year is different. It doesn't celebrate an event, it celebrates a concept, a number changing. And not everyone believes numbers deserve emotions. The quiet celebrators. They don't go out, they don't dress up. They don't count down from 10, but don't mistake silence for emptiness. These are people who do celebrate, just not loudly. Their idea of a perfect new year is comfort, a familiar show, a game they've played 100 times, the same peace they protect every weekend. Psychologically, these people value emotional regulation over emotional intensity. They don't chase excitement. They manage energy. They understand something most people don't. Joy doesn't have to be dramatic to be real. For them, celebration isn't about marking time. It's about preserving calm. In a world that constantly demands more noise, more happiness, more proof, they quietly choose enough. The time-blurred survivors. Some people don't ignore New Year. They simply don't notice it. Days blend together, weeks collapse into each other, months feel identical. Work pressure, financial stress, mental load. Their brain is in survival mode, not celebration mode. Psychologically, when the mind is overwhelmed, it stops tracking symbolic events. Time becomes functional, not emotional. New Year requires reflection. Reflection requires mental space. And these people don't have that space. They're not ungrateful. They're exhausted. When midnight passes, nothing clicks because their mind has been fighting fires all year. To them, the calendar changing doesn't mean renewal. It just means tomorrow starts early. The invisible lonely. Some people don't treat New Year like a normal day by choice. They do it because the alternative hurts too much. These are the invisible lonely, people without close friends, without invitations, without a place to go when the clock approaches midnight. When New Year's Eve arrives, it doesn't feel like celebration season. It feels like exposure. Psychologically, New Year is one of the most socially comparative moments of the year. It forces people to measure their lives against others, not in private, but publicly. Photos, stories, messages, countdowns. Everyone seems surrounded. Everyone seems wanted. For the lonely, this creates a quiet form of pain, social confirmation of absence. So they withdraw. They tell themselves it's just another day, because redefining it is a survival strategy. If they remove meaning from the event, they reduce the emotional damage. They might stay home, sleep early, watch something familiar, scroll without engaging, because caring would mean acknowledging what's missing. Deep down, many of them aren't rejecting celebration. They're protecting themselves from disappointment. And while the world explodes in fireworks, they sit with a different kind of silence, one that isn't empty but heavy. The wounded passers. For some people, the year didn't end, it damaged them. Loss of a job, loss of stability, loss of someone they loved, or loss of who they used to be. When a year is filled with pain, celebrating its end feels wrong, almost disrespectful to what was endured. Psychologically, celebration requires emotional safety. It assumes the past can be framed positively as something overcome, learned from, or completed. But for the wounded passers, the pain hasn't settled yet, so they don't celebrate. Not because they're ungrateful, not because they're bitter, but because healing doesn't obey dates. Treating New Year like a normal day is their way of staying honest. No fake optimism, no forced hope, just continuation. They're not rejecting the future, they're walking toward it carefully. Sometimes survival looks quiet. Sometimes strength looks like simply moving forward without applause. The introverted observers. Introverts are often misunderstood during moments like New Year. People assume they're antisocial, cold, detached. But psychologically, introversion isn't about disliking people. It's about how stimulation is processed. New Year is a sensory overload, loud music, crowded rooms, forced enthusiasm, emotional performance. For an introverted nervous system, this isn't joy, it's exhaustion waiting to happen. Introverted observers don't need the calendar to tell them when to reflect. They're already reflecting constantly. They analyze their year quietly, internally, without announcing it. Celebrating publicly feels unnecessary, even artificial. So they treat New Year like a normal day, not out of rebellion, but alignment. Their inner world doesn't shift dramatically at midnight, so their behavior doesn't either. They might still acknowledge the moment, but privately. A thought, a note, a silent realization. While others reset loudly, introverts evolve subtly. Their growth doesn't look like fireworks. It looks like clarity. So now the question returns quietly. Which one were you? The one who protects calm instead of chasing excitement? The one whose days blurred together under pressure? The one who stayed home because being seen felt heavier than being alone? The one who watched the noise from a distance, not out of coldness, but clarity? Or the one who carried wounds that time hasn't finished touching yet? If one of these felt uncomfortably familiar, say it. Tell me in the comments. It doesn't need fixing. Understanding always begins with naming. I'm curious. Now zoom out. On one side of the night, crowds, countdowns, raised glasses, voices merging into one shared second. On the other, quiet rooms, dim lights, familiar routines, untouched clocks. Both exist at the same time. Both are human. The ones who celebrate aren't shallow. They aren't fake. They're responding to hope, to ritual, to the need for collective meaning. For some people, celebration is survival. For others, it's fuel. But for the ones who treat New Year like a normal day, it's something else entirely. It's not emptiness. It's not bitterness. And it's definitely not sickness. It's a different relationship with time. They don't believe a year can cleanse itself just because a number changes. They don't trust resets that arrive without effort. They don't outsource meaning to calendars. And maybe that's uncomfortable because it quietly challenges the idea that everyone should feel the same thing at the same moment. Life isn't fair with timing. Some people end the year healed. Others end it barely standing. Some have something to toast. Others are still carrying what the year took from them. So when society demands joy on command, choosing neutrality can be an act of honesty. And honesty, psychologically, is often mistaken for coldness. But look closer. The people who don't celebrate loudly are often the ones who change quietly. They don't announce growth. They don't dramatize reflection. They don't perform hope. They live it slowly, privately, inconsistently, like real humans do. Fireworks fade in minutes. Habits don't. And here's the contradiction. Sometimes the healthiest response to a moment everyone calls special is to treat it as ordinary, because you don't need permission to keep going. So maybe the real question isn't whether you celebrate New Year or ignore it. Maybe it's this. Do you need noise to feel alive, or do you trust the quiet enough to grow inside it? Tell me what you think, because somewhere between the fireworks and the silence is where most of us actually live.